It seems that more momentum is building in these markets at the moment. And of course, we had those positive results coming through from Intel last night, but slightly negative results coming out of Johnson & Johnson. Do you think that's going to be the theme for the earnings season in the United States, where we will have mixed reports?
Well, I think if one looks at the reports, it's still really quite early. I think the important numbers to look for out this afternoon are from JP Morgan. They're going to be the results, and they're really going to set a benchmark for the results in terms of the banking sector. Technology stocks really have done well, so in the last 6 months in the States. So really that I think is important. But like you said, probably going to be setting the precedent for mixed results out.
And of course, JP Morgan, that was one of the first banks in the US to repay the TARP funds to the government. So it really is going to be seen as an indicator of how the other banks will be reporting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. If one looks at the expectation is that they need to come out with a decent profit, because if they don't, the rest of the other banks that haven't repaid their TARP funds will be under rather more pressure than they've been, and therefore quite negative for the banking sector. And we saw Meredith Whitney coming out yesterday downgrading Goldman Sachs. So a little bit of nervousness. So really investors are looking for good numbers out of JP Morgan this afternoon. And
of course, Meredith Whitney is seen as something of a bank's guru, isn't she? So people really take what she says quite seriously, don't they?
Yes, and one saw, with the banks, coming off overnight. I think if one looks at her statement yesterday, it was really her only buy in her portfolio. So that says a lot about caution, ahead of the earnings season out in the States.
And yet we see banks in South Africa performing very strongly. They were up nicely yesterday, up very nicely again today. So our banks seem to have shrugged off those comments from Meredith and the weakness in the banking sector we're seeing in Europe and the United States.
There was an announcement yesterday that Morgan Stanley upgraded the local banks, as well as the strong rand today is really contributing to that. Our local banks haven't really been exposed to the credit crunch as much as obviously your international counterparts. And if one looks at the interest rate cycle going forward, we've really had a whole lot of interest rate cuts. The debt servicing costs are obviously going to come off. So really positive for our local banks going forward, 12 months out.
Well, we had some exciting news out in the financial services sector this morning, and that was really that Old Mutual is making another play for Mutual and Federal. We know the minorities voted against this last year, but Old Mutual's come back for a second bite. It's offering R21.25, and that's a bit of a premium from where Mutual and Federal's share price was trading. We have seen M&F shares up quite nicely today.
Yes, I think it's a fair price, considering the current underwriting environment and where equity markets are at the moment. I think it's going to be beneficial for Mutual and Federal as well as Old Mutual. Old Mutual has come out to say that they're looking to streamline their businesses, and this is definitely one of them. There are going to be benefits, obviously, for Old Mutual. There are going to be, mutual benefits really. Your cost saving will probably be one of them. They'll be able to cross-sell. And obviously very positive for Old Mutual, because they'll be increasing their footprint into Africa. So the market really liking it.
And do you think they'll be any more successful the second time around?
I think so. I think, in terms of the market, we are hopefully reaching a bottom. It is above its current trading price, and we've seen it run. I think it is a fair price, and, minority stakeholders should really probably just grab this opportunity to get in and to be able to sell at these levels.
We had results out from Datatec. Headline earnings per share down 72%, but that was really in line with the trading statement they put out a couple of weeks back. So no big surprises from Datatec, and the share price was a little bit higher this morning.
I think like you said, Stephen, the results were in line. But the important thing is looking at the statement they made about the next 6 months and next year. They're very positive about forward-looking companies now. If we are at the bottom of the recession, they're going to be spending more. We're looking at spending cycles abroad. We've seen technology stocks really running quite hard in the States. I think they will definitely outperform in the next 6 months. Nedbank has a buy on the stock, with a 1-year target of 38 Rand and 40 cents. So quite positive. I think we're going to see some pricing upside to the stock.
Well, while companies might be buying more from Datatec going forward, it looks like consumers aren't really buying this at the moment. We had those retail sales figures out in South Africa this morning, a contraction of 7% in August, which was much worse than the 3.2% that was expected. We also have retail sales data coming out of the United States this afternoon. What are you expecting there, and what's your feeling on the South African numbers?
Well, in terms of the local numbers, not very surprised by those numbers. Obviously, the depth of the number, I did expect the numbers to come in lower, purely because there are a lot of sales. Your winter sales came through in July, which really helped support the number. But in August, not really that many reasons for consumers to come out and spend. I think consumers are going to be under pressure for the next 4 months. All the way up to November. And then Christmas sales are really going to help boost the retailers. There's always just so many good reasons to spend a little bit more and extend a little bit of credit towards the end of the year. So I think, retailers are really going to have to, it's really important how the next 2 months play out into December come January.